Hey guys, this is Chris Mincola with the Mincola Group at West USA Realty, and I'm here live to do our weekly program. And we're starting a little bit late. Had a little bit of stuff happening here that I need to take care of, but we are ready to go live. And I'm by myself today. Evan is not available, so we're going to talk about how to protect your home purchase today, and so you don't run into any issues later on. Whether you're buying a new home or a resale home, one of the biggest things that we always stress during our buyer consultation with our home buyers is the fact that you want to make sure you have, I don't care if you're buying a brand new home, having it built from scratch, or a resale home, you want to make sure you get a licensed inspector in there. And you want an experienced one. You want one that's been vetted by someone, and of course that would be your realtor, hopefully us, with the Mincola Group here at West USA Realty. And you want to make sure that you get that licensed inspector in there to take a look at the property. Of course, if you're buying a new home, yes, it does go through some of their own city checks and codes that they need to, check on as they go along through the process. But I can tell you, brand new homes that we've bought, or we know other people have bought, and we get that inspector in there, they always find something. Okay, it may not be anything huge, but it's still something, right? We want to make sure your house is as sound as possible. So one of the biggest things during the home buying process that we like to really hit on is the home inspection. Now, we have several home inspectors that we can recommend for your home purchase. And again, you want to make sure you have a realtor who's vetted these inspectors to make sure you've got a really good one that's experienced, not only licensed but experienced and knows what they're doing. But I would never skip over that. For the $400, 300 and some odd bucks, maybe $500 to get an inspection, depending on the home. Some may cost a little bit more than that, depending on the size of the home and that sort of thing. Maybe in a luxury market or whatever. But you want to have the home inspected, and they're going to do a general inspection on the home, which means they're not going to be necessarily looking behind walls, but they will get up into crawl spaces, attics. They will check, electrical outlets, your appliances to an extent. They're not going to wash dishes in the dishwasher, but they'll make sure that there's no leaks and things like that, for instance, and those sorts of things. The biggest thing out here, obviously, is checking roof and AC, right? You want to make sure roof and ACs are good. You have 10 days to do your inspection period. So during that 10 days, once you go under contract, the next day you start your 10-day inspection period. And you want to get that licensed inspector out there as soon as possible in case any issues come up and you need to maybe get a second opinion on something. Maybe there's a questionable thing going on with the roof. Or AC or whatever, and you want to get somebody else in there, maybe even foundation. You want to get another expert in there, a specialist in those areas to really look at those things and make sure that everything's going to be good as far as the day you walk through the door. Now, you have 10 days to inspect the home. You also have 10 days during that time to inspect things like crime rates in the area, schools, HOAs, if there is one, in that area. You will get disclosures from the seller, and we'll make sure we figure out whatever it is that they know about the property or has been done with the property. Also have a termite inspection, and during that time, there's a lot of things that the inspector's going to look at. How's the plumbing, and those sorts of things. So it's a really good thing, but it's also about the area too. So don't forget that. And one of the things that we give you during our buyer consultation to make sure you have is what's called a buyer advisory guide with official live links for Arizona home buyers. You want to make sure you're not, getting all these links from all these other third-party sites. Again, whether you're buying a new home or a resale home, you want to have this buyer advisory guide and you want to have this inspection done. And you want to make sure that you're looking at all these things so that, a month, 3 months, 6 months, even a year down the road, you're not like, oh man, I wish we hadn't bought here because, this, that, and the other thing was wrong with the house and we bought a lemon. Or, the schools weren't that good or the crime rate was higher than I thought. There's so many problems here in this area. Da, 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 da. we want to make sure, that you're looking at all these links to make sure that the home, the area, the community, the HOA, the schools, the shopping, all that stuff is good. Even the drive time from your work and back and those sorts of things, or to other relatives. Make sure all that works into your lifestyle. Maybe you want to be near hiking, all those sorts of things that you want to do to fit into your lifestyle. You want to make sure that you can, within reason, of course, within your budget, but that you can make work and make manageable. Now, certain times, get through that 10-day inspection period. You don't have to take the whole 10 days. We put, any issues that do come up that are action items, so to speak, that maybe are hazardous. Again, one of the biggest things is going to be your roof, because even if you have a home warranty, your home warranty will cover things as long as it's part of the package that you're paying for, like AC, electrical, plumbing. But usually it's not going to cover roof, or even if it does, it may be just patching certain parts of the roof. So we want to make sure that, of course, natural disasters and stuff would be taken care of by insurance. But as far as leaks and stuff in the roof, you want to make sure you don't have any of those and that you're covered that way. So again, having that inspection and getting that, inspector up there on the roof and in the attic, looking around in there and making sure that there aren't any visible leaks, mold, or anything like that, it'll be a big deal. And then once we figure out, okay, here are some issues that you want to ask the seller for, okay? We want to make sure we know if any of those are deal breakers, if you move forward or not. And you can, tell us what those are. We'll discuss those with you. And we put them in writing and we send them over to the seller. Now they have 5 days to respond to you, because they have to kind of figure out on their end if it fits into their budget to do whatever fixes there are. And then, or they want to do the work in the first place. And then once they respond to you, as part of the contract, they have 5 days to respond to you. And then once you get their written response back of what they'll fix, either some of it, all of it, or none of it, you have 5 days to respond to that, whether or not you're going to move forward. So, it's really important. Again, all this stuff's in writing. It's part of our contract and documents that we put together for you with our team here, and we make sure that you're protected. And that's also one of the contingencies too, that if something doesn't go right and you want to pull out of this, yeah, you spent the inspection money, but you can pull out and get your earnest money back at the home purchase. So we can get that out of escrow. One of the other things too that I want to point out is we want to make sure that the work was done right. So we can get receipts, of course, for the work that was done, but there's been times where we have those receipts and I'll recommend this at least for major things anyway, or things that you're not going to do. Like, you're not going to climb up on a roof, probably. Most people are not going to climb up on a roof to take a look and see if, the roof was fixed or replaced and how the work was done. But certain things you're going to want to go back during the final walkthrough or even prior to that. And you may want the inspector to go back again to confirm, even though you have the receipts, that those things were actually done and done correctly. And that's super important to keep in mind. So if there is an issue there, we're going to, of course, point that out immediately to the other side and make sure it gets remedied. And then we can, of course, again, verify that, again, it was actually fixed. There can be credits. Sometimes people would rather just have credits, or they're just like, you know what, I'll take care of it myself. That's totally up to you. So part of this whole process of getting the inspector in there, looking at the buyer advisory guide, again, we can't make all the decisions for you. We can only advise. You have to make the decisions on what it is that's important to you. As a home buyer, we can only point out, certain things to be aware of course, and advise. But during this period, you have to do your own due diligence. In other words, you have to figure out, is this house good for me to move into, as far as I'm concerned? Okay. Are the schools good enough in this area, and so on. So just some things to think about. I could, of course, go on and on with this, but just some things to think about that we would go over in a buyer consultation with you, and make you aware of. And one of the things to point out here, as far as inspections goes and things to be aware of homes in Arizona, we have a big problem with termites out here. Now, luckily, they're not the kind of termites that, rip through a house super fast and do tons of damage in a major way super fast, but they can be a problem. So if the home has been let go for a while, we'll of course have to assess that with the inspector or the pest control person that's been out there to do the inspection. But we want to make sure that we let you know that most homes in Arizona, are going to have termites at some point. We always joke in the industry saying, there's two types of homes in Arizona: the homes that have had termites and those that will, because most people aren't going to pay for, a $300 or $400 termite treatment, every year to make sure that you don't have termites. So that is something that can come up in inspections. And we'd say we see it maybe 30-40% of the time where it comes up in the homes. But again, case by case, of course, we want to make sure you're protected, but it's not something that a lot of times is a deal breaker for a lot of people. So with that said, reach out to us if you have any questions. We'd love to be able to give you a home buyer consultation, talk to you more about the inspection period and the whole home buying process, get you that buyer advisory guide with all the live links in there that we can send out to you to make sure that you're well informed about your home purchase. So you can always reach us again at 480-788-8569. And you can check us out at mincolagroup.com and mincolahomes.com. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out there or just message me here. We'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.